Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Sammy and I make mommy, lifestyle, and Leo content. Today I'm going to be talking about surviving overtime. So my husband, if you do not know, is a state trooper and has been for the past 2 years, and I am a proud police wife. It affects every part of our daily life, and we are definitely so proud of my husband and so proud of the job that he does and the job that his fellow officers do across the country. So he does work a ton of overtime, and partially that is due to the amount of work that they have, and I guess the amount of work it overshadows the amount of officers that they have. And so that means that he works a lot of overtime, especially on the weekends, and usually on the weekends. Generally he doesn't work OT during the week. However, he does have court, and that's considered OT, and he does have court a lot of times, most times on his days off. And so that can kind of run into our family time, and that can be a little bit frustrating, but thankfully it's usually just in the mornings, and it doesn't last for a really long time unless he has a larger case. So it's usually just, a little bit of time in the morning that he has to go show up, and then sometimes they keep him, and sometimes he comes right back home. So it just depends on the case and if the attorneys need him there or not. But he almost always shows up for court. So when he works OT, and I usually know ahead of time if he's going to be working OT, of course there's the unscheduled OT, which is if he gets caught up with a case at work before coming home. So that can happen quite frequently. That's not uncommon for him, but he does have scheduled OT, which is generally on the weekends, and so we usually know when that's going to happen, and so we can prepare and plan accordingly. So this coming weekend, he will actually be working OT Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and so that will be our longest stretch of OT, and that is due to St. Patrick's Day, and they like to have a little bit more officers on the road because there's a lot more cases of drunk driving and that type of thing because of the holidays. So he almost always works OT during the holiday, like around the holiday season and around holidays. So outside of Valentine's Day, I think, he doesn't usually work OT on Valentine's Day. That's not usually a drunk holiday, hopefully. So but President's Day, Labor Day, 4th of July especially, Christmas, Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day, anything where there's going to be a lot more traffic, or there's expected to be more what we call OVI, or operating a vehicle under the influence, they always tend to pull more guys to work those shifts. So this weekend he is going to have an extra long stretch, and so I'm just going to share what we usually do to survive overtime. So the number one thing that we do is we try to get together for dinner, whether that's on the road or he does his best to make it home for dinner, especially during OT. During his other shifts, they're not quite as long, so it's not as much of a, he does try to make it home for dinner. We have scheduled dinner, sit-down dinner at home, and he does try to make it home for that. But if he doesn't, it's not something that we stress out about or worry about. But while he's working OT, those are usually 12, sometimes 15-hour shifts, and so we try to either meet on the road for dinner, or he tries to make it home. And that's just a little bit of extra family time, because usually when he works OT, he comes home from work very late, so he sleeps until he gets up to go back to work for the next OT shift, and that's very common. Occasionally he'll have an hour or so between the shifts, like between getting up and going to work, and we'll spend some time together then. But usually during OT, those dinner times is our quality time. So it's usually about half an hour. That's usually what he gets, but we will take it. we will take whatever we can get. The next way that I survive OT is I plan extra time with family or friends and make sure that I'm getting out of the house. If you're a mom and you are a police wife, you can know that a lot of times the home life and the raising of the children falls to us a lot. And I'm not complaining, that's just a fact of the job. So on those extra long days, I try to plan to go see the grandparents or meet up with my sister for dinner or go hang out at her house and have like a movie night, whatever it may be. And that way I get a little bit of a break and from being just at home and just with Oliver by myself, which can be overwhelming sometimes, especially while we've been going through this sleep regression phase. It's been a little bit overwhelming, and so I'm blessed enough to have family close by, and I'm able to get together with them on the extra long shifts. If you do not have family nearby or friends nearby, I would suggest planning an outing, whether that be shopping or going to the park if weather allows, or something just to break up the monotony and to kind of get out and give yourself a little bit of a break instead of just constantly just being home and kind of feeling maybe a little bit overwhelmed with all that you have to do at home. And I know it's hard to do that when you feel like you've got a long list of things to do, but it can be really, really beneficial to you. So the final way that I survive OT, especially the long shifts of it, is extra self-care. So I will plan one of those evenings to have a long bath if possible. I will do face mask, paint my nails, those kinds of things. And that's not always possible, but I try to plan it on nights when I know that there's going to be an extra length of time. This weekend, because Russell is working 4 OTs, I think I'm going to try and see if my sister or my mom can keep Oliver for a couple of hours so that I can go do grocery shopping. It's just usually easier to do it without him, and if Russell's home, then he will keep him while I run and shop, but where he is working so much, I don't want to, kind of shove Oliver on him while he is home, and so he can rest and really decompress for the short amount of time that he's home. So I try to plan that if I know that he's going to be working OT, I try to plan it so that either Oliver and I are out of the house for a little bit so he can have some rest time, or I just make sure that my mom can keep him for a couple of hours, or my sister or somebody, while I go and do grocery shopping. Especially while he's been in this sleep regression, it's been a little bit more difficult to get him out and about. He's cranky, he's not sleeping a lot, and so trying to take him into the store is just such a hassle. So I usually try to plan those things during OT shifts. So those are my tips for surviving OT. I also encourage lots of texts and phone calls, and even if he doesn't pick up or isn't able to respond, keeping that contact is really important for us. So I hope these tips are helpful. If you are have a spouse that does a lot of OT, you're not alone. We are all here with you, and we are just surviving too. So if you'd like to see more behind the scenes of my life, definitely follow me over on Instagram at Kisses and Kevlar. I will have it linked below, and I just share a lot more of our daily practices here in our home and show you a little bit behind the scenes of our lives. And if you like this kind of video, this kind of content, I would hope that you will click the subscribe button. It's completely free. All it does is notify you when I upload a new video. So I hope I will see you in the next one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!